We've got lots of breaking news coming in this morning. My colleague Gaurav Sawant reporting that the forensics team is comparing at this time explosives recovered from the Ujjain train and recoveries made in the house in Lucknow. Cop suspect IDs were made in Lucknow and carried to Madhya Pradesh. Raids are on currently in Kanpur and Lucknow to nab the missing members of the ISIS Khorasan module. These are exclusive images from inside the house where this encounter took place. No other news channel getting anywhere close. I want to introduce Maushmi Singh. She's been up all night tracking the story for us. Also with us in the newsroom at this time are experts who will help us make sense of the UP elections. The final phase, the smallest phase, but also the last phase, a phase where the Prime Minister's own prestige is at stake. Let's go across to Maushmi Singh first. Maushmi, you had a long night, as have the security forces. What's the latest update? What's happening at Ground Zero at this time?
That's right, Rahul. It has been more than about 16 hours, and the investigations into the site, operation site, continue. Even as we talk, the ATS is actually taking each and every evidence very seriously. About 7 revolvers recovered, a map of the Indian Railways, ammonium nitrate, 4 knives, and crucial bit of information, a lot of IS flags. That's what the evidence so far, the recovery made so far, indicates that this might just be the headquarter of the IS network in the state or maybe across India, because the amount of information and recovery that is made indicates that there was something very serious going on as far as spreading terror on Indian soil is concerned. And even as we talk, the ATS sources indicate that the 2 suspects might just be at large after Saifullah was killed. We do believe that the local residents have indicated there were 4 youths who were inside this house and who were staying here since past 3 months. Now the ATS sources have confirmed that 2 terrorists just might be at large. There has been an alert that has been issued across the state of UP, even as the ATS tries to connect the dots of this.
Here's what we're learning this morning. The laptop, mobile phones and several SIM cards that have been recovered from the module that's been picked up in Kanpur and Etawah. Apparently 5 people are still absconding, including 3 who lived with Saifullah. This is a very serious, very big module. Remember, whatever we've seen of the ISIS so far, there have been very few people seemingly operating in isolation, getting radicalized online. This seems to be a multi-state module, very, very serious, dangerous ramifications. We spoke earlier this morning to Javeed Ahmed, the UP DGP, the Director General Police. Let's listen to what the top cop in Uttar Pradesh has to say.
आइए पकड़ जाओ, आइए भाई पकड़ लें।
साहू देखो यार, साहू एक बड़ा ऑपरेशन है, एक बड़ी सक्सेस है।
चलो भैया, टाइम कम आई रही
रोल
बिल्कुल मिला है क्या इसमें और लोग भी हैं?
कल दिन में उज्जैन के पास एक पैसेंजर ट्रेन में बॉम्ब एक्सप्लोजन हुआ था। उसके बाद हम लोगों के पास एक दूसरे स्टेट से इंफॉर्मेशन आई थी, जिसके आधार पर यहाँ पर कार्रवाई की गई थी। लगभग 1 बजे के लगभग हमारे पास इंफॉर्मेशन आई थी। उसके बाद हमने कार्रवाई करी थी। इस कार्रवाई में यहाँ पर जो ऑपरेशन हुआ है उसके बारे में आपको जानकारी है। इसके अलावा कानपुर और उसके आसपास दो लोकेशंस पे कार्रवाई करके वहाँ कुल 3 लोग जो हैं उनको हिरासत में लिया गया, उनसे पूछताछ की जा रही है। और जो यहाँ व्यक्ति था, संदिग्ध था, वो उसको हम लोगों ने प्रयास किया कि उसको ज़िंदा हम गिरफ्तार कर लें, लेकिन लास्ट तक वो नहीं माना और अल्टीमेटली हमको फिर ऑपरेशन करके उनको न्यूट्रलाइज करना पड़ा।
फिर जो अलग अलग जगह से गिरफ्तारी हुई है, ये क्या सभी एक ही मॉड्यूल से जुड़े हुए थे? सभी का ISIS से ही संबंध है?
इस स्टेज पर इस समय जानकारी लिमिटेड है हमारे पास, लेकिन उस लिमिटेड जानकारी के आधार पर आपके सवाल का जवाब हाँ में है। आगे उनसे बातचीत होगी और पता चलेगा।
So do you think you could anticipate the movement or the presence of these people here on time, sir, in good time? Or?
The fact that we were able to come pinpointedly to the place where they were staying makes it obvious that the intelligence report that had been developed by the various agencies was very specific.
सर, नॉर्थ इंडिया में ISIS का मॉड्यूल मिलना और इतने बड़े स्तर पे मिलना कि एक पूरा का पूरा इतना बड़ा गुट है, यूपी पुलिस अब इस पे आगे और काम करेगी कि इतना बड़ा जो संगठन है, खतरनाक संगठन है, वो यूपी में कितनी जगह फैला है?
स्वाभाविक रूप से इन सब चीज़ों पर अभी और बात की जाएगी, काम किया जाएगा। थैंक यू।
That was Javed Ahmed. The UP DGP Maushmi Singh is with us. Gaurav Sawant is with us. I want to go across to Gaurav now. Gaurav, you're reporting that 5 terror suspects could still be absconding, including 3 who lived with Saifullah. What can you tell us? You're on a flight, so very quick update before you take off, Gaurav.
Rahul, very basic information at this stage about those who are missing, but there are simultaneous raids that are on in Lucknow, in Kanpur, in several adjoining areas. Saifullah, it seems, came from Kanpur, as did 2 of his other friends, including Ghaus Mohammed. Now, the police are not sharing more details because raids are on even as we speak. These are the multiple modules that were operating, and Saifullah apparently was the team leader. What police sources are telling India Today is that the improvised explosive devices, the pipe bombs that were used for the Ujjain train explosion, were apparently made at this house in Lucknow, and that is why forensic examination is required of the explosives, traces of explosives that were recovered in Ujjain, and the explosives that have been recovered from this Haji Colony house in Lucknow.
Also, the fact that this is a big module. You know, yesterday, the moment we started reporting that the police believe that this is ISIS, so many different people called up saying that no, this is not the ISIS. It still seems that despite the evidence on the ground, despite the fact that some of the train attacks at least were linked to terror activities, a lot of people, especially in political parties, seem to be in a total state of denial.
In fact, Rahul, from what sources are saying that this particular module was being watched for several months. The police were hoping to move in. The intelligence agencies in multiple states were tracking this particular module, and they were hoping to catch them before the Ujjain blast. But these terrorists succeeded they succeeded in Ujjain. But fortunately, the nature of the explosion was such that there were no serious injuries.
Thanks, Gaurav. Have a safe flight. That was Gaurav Sawant reporting on the latest 5 terror suspects apparently still on the loose. Remember, the first CCTV images, I'm going to call them up on the screen in just a moment, were from Bhopal, which is where some of the terror suspects were filmed getting off a bus. The Chief Minister of the state has spoken. Hemendra Sharma is our colleague. He tracks Madhya Pradesh for us. The arrests, this attack may have happened in Lucknow, but a lot of it has links going back to Madhya Pradesh. Hemendra, what can you tell us about the Madhya Pradesh connection of this ISIS module?
Well, this is an ISIS module that is beyond doubt, because the investigators and the police in Madhya Pradesh have recovered one image from the scent items of one of the accused who has been arrested from Piparia, and this has been sent to Syria, and this is of the pipe bomb that they had placed in the Bhopal Ujjain passenger train. And also, senior police officers have confirmed it to us that these 3 alleged terrorists, they moved from Lucknow by train to Bhopal. After getting down from the train in Bhopal, they boarded the Bhopal Ujjain passenger train, planted this bomb in this train, and then thereafter got on from this train and then boarded a bus, and they moved to Piparia, where they were eventually nabbed. Also, police sources are saying that because they had come from Lucknow, this has to be verified whether these 3 are the ones who were staying in Thakurganj area along with Saifullah, because that has to be, they have to be put across to eyewitnesses who have actually seen them living in the area. That thing has to be verified, but one thing is also there, that they have other associates in the state as well as outside the state. People are, the investigators are looking for them, and also they are looking at their handlers, not just outside India but also inside India, because it is possible there
Prime
are
Minister is in Somnath at this time. I'm receiving live visuals from there. We want to show you what's happening because this is the first time he's visited the Somnath temple after he became Prime Minister in 2014. He's currently speaking at Somnath. We will cut across to the Prime Minister in just a moment from now. I want to focus also on the UP elections because the 7 phases this is the 7th phase. There are 7 districts: Ghazipur, Varanasi, Chandauli, Mirzapur, Bhadoi, Sonbhadra and Jaunpur. That's where elections are taking place. And remember, there's been a terror attack or an attempted terror attack just a day prior. Does that in any way impact what's happening in and around Purvanchal? I want to introduce our guest, starting with Javed Ansari, our executive editor. Prashant Jha has been travelling through Uttar Pradesh. He's joining us on this broadcast. Ajit Jha is an editor with the India Today magazine. Rakesh Sinha of the RSS is with us. Morning, welcome. Vivek Kumar is an ideologue for the BSP. So welcome to all my guests. I want to start by asking, Ajit, do you believe that any of what's happened in Lucknow through the last night, yesterday, this morning, could in any way impact the final phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh?
I think so, because, it's obvious that the administration has not been as effective as one would have thought on these issues. So obviously
in what way? They have neutralized the attack. 9 people have been arrested. It's actually quite a big success.
They knew about it and kept quiet?
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting there's a terror network working in the Hindi heartland states, both Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh.
There's a terror network working throughout the country. There's a terror network working throughout the country. The Home Ministry
they've actually been arrested. So it's not, are you being uncharitable?
No, well, what I'm trying to point out is that there is some kind of network working within the Hindi heartland which should have been cracked in the past. I mean,
Javed, especially in Varanasi, a tight fight. We know at least 3 or 4 seats, very tough for the BJP in Varanasi. Will this terror attack, I mean, unfortunate as it is, in any way impact voting preferences on the last day?
Mr. Rakesh Sinha and his friends would be hoping that it would. And if indeed it is true that this was being tracked, this is not an overnight development, as Gaurav Sawant said, this was being tracked over a while, then this was certainly being tracked by the central agencies and not by the Uttar Pradesh government alone. Sure. In which case, why wasn't this nipped in the bud much earlier and why just day before yesterday?
No, but surely, Prashant, you have to give it to the secure. That's Ajay Rai, Uttar Pradesh Congress leader. He's a contestant in Varanasi.
From Pindra.
From the Pindra seat. He's a powerful local leader. He's one of the big hopes of the Congress in Varanasi. He in fact took on Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the 2014 elections. We're seeing live images of him going out to cast his vote. Now surely you have to leave it, Rakesh ji, to the intelligence agencies to decide when is a good time. They may have been tracking this module, but when they believe they're ready to go in and attack, that's their call. And secondly, as Javed says, it's inevitable that questions will be asked that, you're stuck in Varanasi, there are certain seats which are looking tough, and there's this big encounter. People will inevitably, especially those in opposition, ask those questions.
People like my good friend Javed believes in conspiracy theory. Look, this is the relationship between terror and the intelligence agency. You can't predict that a particular time the intelligence agency will get the
Rakesh, I was responding to the point made by my senior colleague here that it is a failure on the part of the state.
No, it is not a failure. I think it is success of the intelligence agency that at least they track them.
There was no terror attack, no big terror attack. These guys were picked up before that.
It is coincidence that there is election. Their plan might be something else. So I think that...
No, but I think the question that was being asked,
it is not...
Professor Sinha, the question that was being asked is this, that if they're being tracked over a period of several weeks, you decide to go in one day prior to polls. That's the question I think that's
the question is that when they got the opportune time to catch them. It is not the question of before the election. They might have done after 10 days or before 10 days. It's a question that the inputs they get and the
Kumar,
opportune time to
a conspiracy theory, or do you think it should be hands off, give the security agencies the advantage and give them the benefit of the doubt?
I think so. I think so because if you are really thinking of a conspiracy theory, I think people have made their mind long back, and a lot of ideological battle is taking place. We have read, we have seen how people have already decided. They have made their mind. They have their own pros and cons. So I don't think that it's going to have an impact on the voting pattern today.
But Vivek, obviously there are some floating voters. I mean, even though people might have made up their mind, such a thing might have certain impact on the floating voters, don't you think?
Prashant, your sense?
I think I would go with Professor Kumar's assessment here. I think a large part of the electorate has made up its mind. Yes, there is a floating vote, and I mean there will be an attempt through whisper campaign, through WhatsApp messages to stoke insecurities because of what has happened yesterday and to tap into this floating vote. But I'm not sure how substantial that is going to be. I mean, I think. Psychologically, yes, this may have some impact. In terms of real voting patterns, I don't think it will have a major impact.
I think that there is a large part of the voters, they believe that the state should be a hard state. And they connect the politics of appeasement and terrorism. They also connect it because, you know, the kind of politics the political parties are pursuing, they are in fact justifying some kind of terror outfit.
This is precisely the whisper campaign I was talking about. The link between yesterday's incident and the fact that politics of national security.
The point I was making was, wittingly or unwittingly, this feeds into the kind of narrative that my dear friend, and I've known him for 33 years, we go back more than 3 decades, the kind of narrative that my dear friend is propounding.
Okay, I want to go across to Varanasi. Joining us from the Ghats of the Ganga is my colleague Brajesh Pandey. Brajesh has been in Varanasi and has been tracking eastern Uttar Pradesh very, very closely. In fact, traveling through the length and breadth of UP. Brajesh, morning. You know, the big question in everybody's mind, that terror attack yesterday in Lucknow or the encounter in Lucknow, does that in any way, anecdotally from what you're picking up by speaking to people, impact what may be happening at the hustings today?
In fact, Rahul, I did speak to 3-4 voters, on record, and they said that, that they are not happy with the law and order situation. And then they went ahead and said that, that the kind of activities which you saw happening in Lucknow and, and so on and so forth, they said that will also determine in a way they vote. But a majority of the people, they stuck to the normal, lack of development, lack of law and order, women's safety. They stuck to that narrative, and they said that, for us, the party which gets development done in Kashi, the party which improves law and order, the party which ensures that safety of the women will decide which party they will vote to rather than the terror attack. So there's a mixed feeling, at least from where I'm standing and doing this live from. They're saying that terror, yes, it will be a concern, but the major concern, the dominant concern for them is development, law and order and safety of women. Rahul?
The principal issues still remain the same. This may be a peripheral issue, but the core issues before the electorate don't change. We're slipping into a very quick break. We have a lot to track this morning. Remember, the Prime Minister is in Somnath. We'll be going across. He's speaking Gujarati right now. In a while, we'll be going across to Gujarat. We've also got multiple reporters tracking every dimension of the ISIS story this morning. And we're covering the last and final phase of the UP elections. We return on the other side of a very quick break. Stay with us.